Plus. Yep. Nope. History.
Got it.
Moment of truth. Woo.
Now, guys, for you guys that don't know, Danny B is our vice president, and she is also incredibly amazing and technologically advanced. I usually think of an idea like that someone would do in the 1990s, and then Danny amplifies the idea and does it for present day. So we're such a great team. Thanks, Danny. All right, so jumping right in here, guys, sorry, by show of hands, whose first meeting is this? Great, awesome. So we really started this organization for folks that are professionals in the cannabis industry and who want to move cannabis commerce forward and they're not really sure where to start. I truly think that we have some of the best talent and the best leadership in the United States for the cannabis industry, but we needed a place where we could all come together so we're all moving cohesively on the initiatives that we want to see happen. And we decided on 3 pillars that we were really going to focus on, which is justice, commerce, and the community. And we're going to talk about how we focus on those today. Specifically, the initiatives that we're going to be speaking on is social use venues, social equity, and the DUI reform that is going to the legislature in 2021. So if you're sitting here and it's your first time and you're wondering, who are these people running this meeting and this organization and how much credibility do we have? So I thought it would be really important. I'm just going to go through everyone and tell them who you are. Excuse me, I'm going to tell everyone who these folks are and what role they play on our team. So first, from left to right, we have David Holman, who is the Director of Sales for Aether Gardens, and he is also our Director of Latino Voices. We have Miss Bree Padilla, who is the owner of BP Editing and Content, and she is our Director of Communications. We have Miss Danny B, who oversees sales and marketing for State Flower and Valhalla. And we have Miss Shelby Stanley, who oversees sales and business development for DigiPath. Myself, I am the brand manager for Old Pal in Nevada. And we have Ashley, how do you say it, Ashley? Where's Ashley?
Ciliberti.
Ciliberti. What's the Italian way?
Ciliberti.
Ciliberti. Ashley oversees business development for NV Can Labs. We have Maggie Presley, who oversees sales for Pana and Suma. We have Nicole Buffong, who is the director for Nevada for M4MM. And we have Mr. Damian Smith, who is the owner of Culture and Cannabis Entertainment and Beyond the Neon. So all of these folks on our team make up our boards. We also have 3 folks that aren't pictured, and that is Miss Christina Thomas, who is our Director of Veterans Voices, Miss Brooke Eastham, who is our Editor-in-Chief, and Scott Rutledge, who is our Legislative Advisor. So we wanted to make sure that our board members represented the diversity that we have in the industry and in the community. Every single person has an opportunity to put their 2 cents in, and these are the people that were willing to volunteer and go above and beyond for the organization. And all of us are actually volunteers. So our mission statement. We really wanted to make sure that we had something that said exactly how we felt, not just a bunch of words that were mumbo jumbo and we were never going to abide by them. So it took us quite a few hours, but we're very happy with our mission statement. And if for any reason you don't really feel like this, that's okay. It might not be for the group for you. If this is also how you feel, we definitely hope you become a member. So we are a unified group of people who believe in the power of cannabis. We advocate for inclusive business opportunities, foster resources and connections, and campaign for the advancement of a diverse community. So when we say that, we really mean it. And we're going to show you in what we've been working on today. How we kind of broke down our 3 pillars is...
Hey, wait, Tina, really fast. I did want to we forgot one person, and that is Kaylee Shea, who is our incredible director of research and also LGBTQ voices. So just wanted to give her a quick shout out, but there's a lot of people there. Thank you so much, Kaylee.
Thank you, Kaylee. I'm so sorry. Thank you, Danny, for having me back. So when we decided to create our 3 pillars, we wanted to create pillars that we could actually have momentum with. And being that this is an organization for professionals in the cannabis industry, how we can move commerce forward is so important. We voted for it to be legal 4 years ago. And our legislator has not done the best job at creating new business above and beyond the dispensaries, the cultivations, and the productions. We also figured out really fast that no one's going to do it for us if we don't do it ourselves. So there is other organizations in town, but nothing that we saw that was really bringing the people who are shaping the industry and the boots on the ground folks together so that we can move as one unit. Justice, how can we change the system? Our first event, for those of you who didn't go, was phenomenal. It was an event where we had 10 pro-cannabis candidates, 8 judges, and 2 political leaders. All nine of them got hired. 9 of them got elected, all but 1. And all of those folks are pro-cannabis. So if you or any of you person that you know finds yourself sitting in front of the justice system and it has to be related to cannabis, we sure hope that you get in front of one of these judges so that you can actually have a fair trial. So it was great to see that impact. Many of these judges and political leaders were sworn in just last week, and we're excited about that. And then our community. You know, people always say they want to get involved in the community and they want to help with stuff, but sometimes that follow through just doesn't happen. So we wanted to make sure we were the organization at least doing 1 event a month that you can participate in, and something that's COVID safe, something that's not extremely difficult to commit to. You know, our generation kind of has commitment problems, myself included. So Danny B. Danny B is going to be talking how you can get involved in our community initiatives in just a little bit. So I can say all the things I want about the chamber, but it's really what other people are saying, especially people that have believed in joining. So we want to just point out 2 quotes from folks that are already benefiting from the organization. This is from Christina Lowry. So far, I've been able to secure 3 interviews just by networking with members. The chamber is absolutely the best way to get connected, and the folks that I've met have greeted this outsider with open arms. Aww. And then this from Fingerprinting Express. We have been able to grow underneath this chamber and love being a part of it. And what's so funny is when Christina went to go get her fingerprints, she didn't even ask. She just saw that the chamber, the Fingerprinting Express joined the chamber, and that's the first place she went. So it's exactly what we want to be happening, for people to be connecting, utilizing each other, you know, bringing out the best in your talents so that we are the strongest state in the union when it comes to cannabis, the industry and legislation. All right, now I'm going to turn it over to Danny B.
All right, so we, you know, as Tina said, we're so grateful for the support of all of our members, and we want to highlight some of our newest members from our last meeting. So starting with the Gold Business members, we've got Culture and Cannabis coming online. We've got Vegas Cannabis Magazine. Curaleaf, thank you so much for sponsoring our emails and our website. We've got State Flower. We've got Bounty, New Leaf, Dispensary. All right, pop over on that next page, Tina. And then Cosset Health and Wellness. And we also have Del Mar Advertising, and they are the creators of our incredible website. If you haven't had a chance to look at it, highly recommend. It's a great way to spend your time. Moving right along, some of our green members, green, my favorite color, the color of cannabis. We've got Venture HR here to help you with all your HR needs. The Apothecarium, we've got Valhalla, Vanguard Media, and Aether Gardens. So thank you again. We really appreciate all the love from these businesses. And please utilize this as a resource for any of your business needs, just like Christina did. If we were in person having a meeting, I would have all of you stand up, tell a joke, and we'd all clap for you. But today's your lucky day, and I'm just going to say your name and scoot right along. So thank you so much to our individual members that have joined. We've got Justin Bloom from Roar, Andrew Kellogg, the owner of Del Mar Media, Ariana James, Fernando Salmeron, Wade Braggs from Bounty. Both of those guys are great. Had a lovely conversation with them. Fabulous entrepreneurs. We've got David Salzberg. He's the owner of Rad Seed Co. Highly recommend looking into that if you're doing any home growing. We've got Barbara Fox. She's the operations director of Cannabis Supply. Brandon McMullen from the Calico Group, Ryan Roberts from Canistars, new dispensary. Got Xavier Stokes, he's the general manager of Medicine. Shout out to him. We've got Tyler Johnson from Westpac Health, a brand new member just today. We've got Brandon Cotner, the owner of Clean Hits LLC, Christopher Stahlmaker. He is the owner of Furtherance Advisors. Frankie S., you'll be hearing from her in a little bit. We've got Mo, you might know her by Mo, or Monique Ridgway, working for Rove Brands, and she also does her own event marketing. We've got Kate Enright from Verano, longtime friend. We've got Ethan Martin, best R&B artist in Vegas. Just saying, we've got him on our team. And we've got Krishna Kishore, cannabis chef, Sam Carboni from Puff It Up, huge fan of her and their live streams. Tyler Prow, we've got, longtime industry member from Can and Roken Vapes. Andrea Carter does amazing cannabis marketing. We've got Tiffany Watkins, who is an advocate and owner of Vanguard Media, also works with Old Pal. We've got Jodeci, she's the owner of Jade, those amazing hemp wraps. Dan Hausman from Venture HR, Ryan Reddy, Anna Spilleri from PAX, and then the whole crew from Culture and Cannabis, Full-Time Tony, JC, Leilani, and Chuck. Thank you so much. And then last but not least, Tina's personal friend, Landon Cohen. That you might recognize that name from Super Bowl 49. He's one of the champions on the Patriots. So looking at that list, we have such a wide reach to all the parts of this industry, and we are here to grow that together, and we're here to help. So again, if you need some HR, boom, we can introduce you to Venture. Say you need some cannabis packaging, we'll send you right over to Cannabis Supply and Calico Group. That's what we're here to do, unite us, and elevate together. So thank you again for all of our incredible members. And moving right along, we're going to do our roll call segment where we get a chance to introduce and showcase and highlight some of our really important members. So I wanted to start with someone that inspires me to be better and reach higher. Our Director of Veterans Voices, Christina Thomas. Go ahead and unmute yourself. You have 1 minute. Please share with us.
Hey everyone, it's nice to meet you. You can call me Chris. I'm honored to be a part of this team. I come from a veteran background, retired Air Force, but what I love to do the most is in the community. I am the chair for Southern Nevada's Veterans Mental Health Advocacy Council. So if you have veterans that have mental health concerns or they're looking for community partnerships, I'm the person that can help them get their things navigated through. And get them to the right people and the right resources. So I work with a lot of federal government type things, a lot of mental health. I am a mind, body, spirit practitioner, so that's my regular job. And I also have my own CBD e-commerce store. So my family runs that while I take care of spirits. And so, and in the meantime, I take care of being a wife and a mom, but mostly making sure that veterans and women are heard. I am also a national speaker for survivors of rape and kidnapping. So I spend a lot of time doing a lot of mentoring and helping people navigate through their trauma and start living their life a lot better, not letting things hold back. So I'm pretty much, you can name it, I'm pretty well-rounded to be able to help people when it comes to the love of trying to get back to who they are and get them in the communities where they need to be to have some complete wellness. So other than that, what I do expect from the chamber is I know there are a lot of veterans' voices that are not being heard. I would like all of you as members, as outreach to do that much and reach out to those that are veterans, because they have needs that are very important. They have complex issues, and cannabis with the legalization and the VA Research Act, all of those things need to be put together because there's other veterans around the nation that are also running huge organizations that all of us here can actually end up helping as well. So I'm outreaching nationally with the Chamber of Cannabis as well. So maybe in my own, we can go ahead ahead and start going, you know, across lines and teaching other people how to do this since we're doing it so well. So bringing more in, bringing those veterans in is also a good quality care for you to actually have that inclusion as well in the community. So if you know that, please refer them over. I put my email in the chat. I love your support in whatever way you want to support me in business, but I also want you to know if there's people with trauma and veterans, I want to hear their voices, but cannabis has to be involved in their life if they want it as their modality. So that's who I am, and there's so much more to that, but that's the brief because I had 1 minute and I'm over.
You're so great, Christina. Thank you so much for that introduction. Please reach out to her for any veterans or other opportunities to help elevate our community. So thank you for that introduction. Next, I want to share with you one of our individual members who, again, inspires me and future leader. But I won't take up any more time. Let me have you introduce yourself, Frankie. Go ahead and hop on.
Good evening, y'all. My name is Frankie Silken. I grew up in Hawaii. I've been in Las Vegas my entire adult life. I'm currently a graduate student at the University of Southern California with a concentrate in social change and innovation. This simply means that when I graduate in a few months, yay, my career in volunteering will be focused on the macro elements of the businesses, organizations, and movements that I work for. My current field placement, I need to complete over 1,000 hours prior to graduating, is actually with US Vets. So everything that Christina was saying, that's totally awesome. It's a nonprofit organization that serves veterans and their families that are at risk or currently experiencing homelessness. So I totally advocate for everything that Christina was saying, which I think is fabulous. I have experience working in federal law enforcement, child protective services, cultivation, machine guns, automatics, and I'm also a firearms instructor. So one interesting thing about me is that I actually do not medicate. Now, I am 100% pro-cannabis, and on another note, pro-psilocybin, but it's a different story. And I pretty much, everyone in my life medicates daily, and I'm around it daily. So just know I'm 100% comfortable with those who medicate. However, I have observed someone who doesn't know me, they might not feel super comfortable like medicating around me just because I don't participate. But just know, again, I'm around it all the time, 100% for it. I 100% believe in the medicinal properties of cannabis. I mean, it's science and there are numerous evidence-based research proving this. I choose not to medicate because, again, I am a firearms instructor and I want to keep my options open for the firearms industry. And as we know, that industry is regulated by the ATF and cannabis is illegal on the federal level. So again, feel free to add me to Facebook, and I'm always looking for ways to contribute to our community and to the cannabis movement.
Thank you so much for being an advocate. We really appreciate it. And thank you for what you're going to do. Like I said, you're a future leader and I can't wait to see what you can do. And let's continue to elevate this industry. All right, next, I want to turn the time over to someone who does some really important work with the medical marijuana community. She also has probably the best smile, I think, of anyone that I've ever met. So Nicole, you've got a minute to kind of explain you and what you do. Go ahead.
Thanks so much, Danny. Good evening, everyone. I am a cannabis patient, and that's how I started in this industry about 4 years ago. I was diagnosed with HIV. And so with that in mind, as a patient, I'm blessed and honored that Tina and the team asked me to be a part of this group, to be the medical voices. Because a lot of what I do is talking to patients and understanding what their needs are. And so if anyone that you know that is in need of guidance or resources when it comes to being a patient in the state, and actually in other states. So my day job is the director for minority medical marijuana for the state of Nevada. And recently, last week, I was asked to actually manage the Western region for the organization. So I'm working with the rest of the executive team to make sure that Washington State, Oregon, California, Oklahoma, Arizona, and Colorado, as well as Nevada. So I'm honored to work with minority medical marijuana to shape social aid language in all of these locations, and this legislation is getting now. Right now, about 3 different groups in 3 different states making social language shared
Hey, Nicole.
What we started in Jersey.
Hey, Nicole, hate to interrupt
Yes.
you. Pick your phone up, back up some, because we missed about 40 seconds of what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Keep talking. I'll
So
tell you
use
if
my
it breaks
phone.
up. Yeah. So push back. Let me see if it breaks up again.
Okay. Is
Okay,
that
go for
better?
it. Yep, that's better. Go for it.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry. Well, let me wrap this up. Minorities for Medical Marijuana, we're working diligently with every state that has any type of cannabis legal legislation in the country. So we're using all our resources to make sure that social equity language is implemented. And it's a conversation before the law is written and not afterwards. So I'm honored to partner with the chamber. We are honored to partner with the chamber. We're proud to be able to do this work by any means necessary, because that's what it is at this point. We just got to make sure that those conversations are happening, and they're no longer kept behind closed doors. So thank you guys again. If anybody knows how to find me, I'm Cannabis Connection World on most of my social medias, but thanks again.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Again, she is a representative for medical or minorities for medical marijuana, and they do a lot of really important work. And we are going to speak to social equity. It's important to the chamber that that is included and a part of all future legislation. So we are excited to be partnering with an expert like yourself, and we appreciate all the advocacy work and hard work that you've already done for the cannabis community. Thank you again. Next, I don't believe he was able to make it, Brandon Cotner. He's doing some other cool thing, but let me just highlight Clean Hits really fast. So Clean Hits Pipe Cleaning is a local business, and they do something that probably all of us stoners could capitalize on, and that is sanitizing and cleaning our pieces. So they do ultrasonic sanitization of your glass pieces, your dab rigs, and what have you. Prices start at $5 for a glass piece for the quickie, and $15 for your rig, and then it goes up to $10 for your piece and $25 for the whole shebang for that ultrasonic cleaning. So how can we help our community member? We can support him by finding him on Instagram, using the service. If any of our dispensary partners want to host a pop-up, you can have that outside your door, drive some business. Again, we're all about strengthening the community and strengthening local business partners. And next, I'm going to go right along to one of our green members, and this is going to be AeroPay, and they are a cannabis payment solution platform. I think it's really exciting to share that they partner with Blackbird Logistics, and I'm no money expert, so let me pass it right along to you, Grace, and you can tell us all about it.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's awesome intro, and really, really flattered to be speaking among this group of people. It's really great to see so much going on in the industry today. So I am Grace Maybe. I work with AeroPay. We do payment processing for cannabis businesses, and we do anything from retail in-store dispensaries to online ordering and delivery models. Those in-store payments are going to be made using QR codes, so it's sort of like a new technological, really exciting feature that we're able to provide for those in-store payments. And then, as you mentioned, we're doing some online stuff, for example, with Blackbird and many other e-commerce providers as well, where we have a fully integrated online checkout solution where the person can pay before they get to the store. And what that does is that increases tips and also decreases cart abandonment, both online and in-store with our product. And the way that we're running these payments is we're doing direct bank-to-bank transfers. So that's going to be money leaving your customer's bank account and going directly to the business's bank account. There's no intermediary in between, no holding account, and no delays or wait times. So money is going to be moving within one business day, if not in the same day. We also don't charge any fees to your customers. So compared to those ATM and cashless ATM options, we're going to be very preferable in that sense, just for being free. We believe that people should not have to spend extra money to spend their own money. And then on top of that, we're going to be a good deal for our merchants as well. So our per transaction rates are going to be cheaper than any standard credit card processors or anything like that. and we're going to be a lot more secure than cash. So you'll save money on the security management and everything that goes with that. And then just a lot easier to deal with than checks or e-checks. So hoping to make things efficient and easy for you guys and your customers. And I'll post my information in the chat if anyone wants to learn more.
Thank you so much, Grace. Yeah, that is a really valid concern. I think you have a lot of hit a lot of pain points that a lot of people in the cannabis industry have experienced. So please, if you have any interest in this or want to elevate our partners at AeroPay, please do. Next, I want to highlight our members, gold members. Apologize that we put Fingerprinting Express because what we meant was Fingerprint Inc. But I want to hand over the time to, I think, Benito, are you going to be speaking? Or your wife?
It's going to be myself, Lori.
All right, Lori, take us on. Thank you so much.
That did kill my soul inside to see Fingerprinting Express up there. I'm not going to lie.
Sorry.
They are my competitor. But yes, hi, I'm Lori Irizarry. I'm co-owner of Fingerprinting Inc. That's Inc. with the splat, bright green logo. Many of you guys have probably used this in the past. We advertised quite a bit on social media. I think that's where we created a great relationship with the chamber as well. But most of you are probably familiar with my husband, our other co-owner, Benito Irizarry. He is the one that's usually either taking your fingerprints or talking shop with you when you get your fingerprints done. We are proud to say that we have been serving Southern Nevada for over 7 years now. So we've been around before there was a thriving cannabis culture here in Nevada. So over the past few years, we've heard the concerns regarding the chaotic licensing process and timeframes going from 2 years to 1 year, fees up and down, and taxation to CCB. So that's something that's always changing in licensing. But as us being veteran LifeScan fingerprinting company and a gold chamber member, we pride ourselves in knowing the industry process, and we consider ourselves industry experts. The CCB licensing process can be cumbersome, and that's something that I think separates us apart from maybe one of our competitors. So as a fingerprint company, something to elaborate on is we do the electronic live scan fingerprinting, the wet ink prints, the notary, passport photos, all that's required. We are approved the Department of Public Safety to submit to the criminal repository and to the FBI. Our office is located off Durango and Desert Inn. I know some of you have come in and visited us. Thank you. Like I know a couple slides back, we quoted that it has helped our business grow. It has. We did have a great relationship with a lot of dispensaries, but since our partnership, we do appreciate the partnership because we have seen it grow quite a bit in the past couple months. We are open, yay. We are open Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. And we have exceeded the standards that we put in place regarding our COVID compliance because we believe in staying safe because we want to stay open. So I think if you go into any other fingerprint place, you're not going to quite see the same layout we have. To elaborate on it, we have full shields. You literally stick your hand in a little baby hole, and so there's less contact between you and the people around you. We are considered an essential business. So when everything shuts down, we're still able to stay open. So that's great. I myself am a state government worker. That's my full-time job. I am a chief of operations with the State of Nevada Private Investigators Licensing Board. I regulate security, fire instructors, repossessors, process servers, canine handlers. So I'm very knowledgeable in the rules and regulations when it comes to state government, and our personal side business is fingerprinting. So it kind of goes hand in hand, a good marriage, husband and wife, if you will.
Love that.
Yeah. But if you can't come down,
we got to keep moving. Everyone just had 1 to 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, well, say if you can't come down, we do offer mobile fingerprinting. So as a chamber member, we do offer discounted pricing. So you guys can always call us, contact us. We put our contact information there. We come to you or you can come to us for discounted pricing. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much, Lori. We really appreciate it. And again, that's Fingerprint Inc.
Yeah.
Like the ink splat. Okay. Yeah. Our apologies. We love you a lot, and we will continue referring all of our friends and dispensary partners or anyone that needs their fingerprints your way. So next, I want to kick it right back to Tina, and we can really dive into these legislative issues and the cannabis reform that we are going to start doing. Let's do it.
Thank you. Also, if your name wasn't on the new members, that is just folks that have joined in the last 30 days. So if you joined 30 days prior, you'll find your name on the website. Also, if you work for a company who is a member, your current members, or excuse me, your current team members are all automatically chamber members. So we would love in your pre-shifts or whatever leadership meetings you're doing to let folks at your company know you've joined this initiative, join the website, join our Instagram, and have your team members be a little bit more involved. All right, so jumping into the super exciting news I know everyone would like to hear about, and we're very excited to talk about, and that's our 2021 social use proposal, which we turned in to Assemblyman Steve Yeager, who has agreed to carry this bill. And what that means is ultimately it's his bill at the end of the day. It's his choice on what he puts in the bill. He is going to want to make a bill that he knows will pass, but it also encompasses all of the points, which we're going to get to. So he might take stuff out, he might add it, but so far he has liked every single thing that we've proposed. And we've done it in a way that is strategic with our help from our advisor, Scott Rutledge and his firm, Argentum Partners. Yeah, let's dive right in. So our two types of licenses that we have proposed are ones that are attached to a current Nevada retailer. The second type, which would be an opportunity for most of us, is called the permissive use or consumption only. And how this would work for retailers, it would allow all existing retailers to have it somewhere adjacent or extremely close to their store. A permissive use, somebody wrote on there, I don't know how to take that off, is a license type for all non-cannabis licensees and cannabis licensees alike. So for an example, let's say one of our friends owns a barber shop and they want to turn their barber shop into a permissive use consumption only. We want that to be an option for them. At this time, since we have to do this on stepping stones so we can get it approved, they would be allowed to not purchase any cannabis on site, but bring it from a licensed retailer in Nevada. And it would all be through the metric system. So let's say, for an example, they buy an Old Pal 8th. And they go into a store, they scan it in, it's unopened. Now we know that's legit. Perfect. Now they can consume and get their hair cut. So it's that simple of a layout. We don't want to make things extremely complicated with details when we first put our proposal in, because that's on page 5 and we're still on page 1. If it goes our way, we want to do a free market approach, which means there is no limit to these businesses, where dispensaries, there was 60 the first go around. And we want this approach so that everybody in Nevada has an opportunity to get into this round of licensing. It will revitalize businesses that have been closed down, especially from the last 2 years of dealing with COVID. This really wouldn't go into effect until 2022, the end of 2021. So think of every cafe, every restaurant, a coffee shop, any brick and mortar building you could think of that might want to apply for this, or maybe someone now buys that business that went under and now they create a permissive use venue. So that would allow it to be open. Also, the cost of these licenses, we asked it to be compared to alcohol in question too. Well, if you look at the cost of a liquor license, it's not $250,000. It's a couple $1,000s. Full-Time Tony just got one for his restaurant, Smoke and Fire. If you haven't been there, there's the plug. And we really want these to be relatively reasonable. After 1 year of businesses doing it right, following the rules, making sure Metro doesn't freak out and all the other naysayers, you would then have the option to get from a permissive use license to a license where you could actually sell cannabis on site. So an example is our Gold Partners GLP. They have their cultivations all the way out there in Pahrump. Well, if you wanted to go out there and maybe you wanted to consume some of the product and do more of a tasting room style, Then you could buy some product there, or you could bring it in from a Nevada retailer and you can enjoy it. These types of licenses will be extremely coveted. So those that get them will probably need to prove in the year that they've been permissive use that they have earned the right to get this license. And this would also be regulated by the CCB. For those that don't know, our legislator meets only every 2 years. So to get something done, it takes quite a while. We want it to be a very basic bill, so then it can be regulated by the CCB and it's easier to take things out and put them in without going back to the legislator. Some additional consideration. Okay, special events. Tons of people on this call love to do special events. We have them in our mind. We've been dreaming about them for the last year. We know we have a lot of opportunity for revenue here. So we would definitely want to do a special event license. Consumption, again, nothing for sale just yet. Mobile transport. Let's get on that cannabis tour and head down the strip. That's definitely something we want to put in there. And then non-gaming tourist accommodations, cannabis hotels. Let's redo all the hotels on Fremont and we can all smoke there. Additional consideration, dram shop laws, health and safety standards, indoor air quality. And the biggest one that's going to really say who can open and where is the municipalities and the zoning restrictions. We already know about schools and churches, but municipalities could say, hey, we don't want it. It has to be freestanding, nothing adjacent to a strip mall. It has to be in so far feet away from here, or they could just opt out. So that will be probably the biggest restraint. And then potential opposition. So for those of you who don't know the Resort Association, that is the association where all of the resorts belong. And they were the biggest opposition in the 2019 city ordinance that many of on this call worked on and wanted to see passed. They don't want people leaving their casinos, right? So what we can tell them when we go meet with them is we can hopefully put heads in beds. We can get people to stay here, to come to Las Vegas, to spend money in your restaurants, to hopefully push a button on a machine by allowing these consumption licenses. We have no intention of making people leave the casinos. We want them to come here and spend their money overall. But regulators and officials need to see that right now tourists aren't coming and we need to find more ways to bring revenue to the people of our state and to our state in general. Metro, biggest complaint with Metro or concern with Metro is DUI driving. So driving, are we going to open up all these shops and then everyone's going to be, driving under the influence? Well, if they were, they would have been doing it in the last 4 years. And that's where we and Scott Rutledge and his partners will pull those statistics so that when we talk to these folks, we have a really strong case of why you don't need to take an Uber from a consumption lounge, because you don't need to take an Uber from a bar. And again, this should be treated just like alcohol. So those are our oppositions. I do want to stop here just to check the chat or ask if anyone has a question on social use before we move on to DUIs.
I didn't have a question, Tina, but were you going to give them a quick update with like where Scott stood with some of these meetings? Were you going to update them on that as well? In like regards to meeting with the Nevada Resort Association and Metro and all those things are moving forward?
We're meeting, so everyone that was listed as the opposition, Scott, myself, or Danny, or another board member, we're going to be meeting with them so that when the bill does go to the legislator, nobody is surprised. We have the support from the CCB. We have a meeting with them next week. That will be our second meeting. They already loved the first proposal that we did. We have Metro, we have the Resort Association. So we want to be a cohesive unit. We don't want there to be fighting amongst the industry or this business over here is against this business over here. We're not going to get anything done if we do it that way. So pretty much we are doing all of the work for the folks that want to get involved with Scott and his partners. You don't have to do anything except support us. And if you can support us, then we're going to move a lot faster.
He's also getting the Nevada Dispensary Association, which I think is a good partner in all of this as well.
Yes. So the NDA has remained neutral in this. However, it's really a silly move because it will increase sales tremendously. If you have to buy it from a dispensary and scan it in for the first year, we all know sales are going to go up all around. So we are definitely trying to get folks that own dispensaries on board. It's only in their best interest as well. Any other specific questions on this? And Danny, I'm not looking at the chat, so if you see a question, feel free to shout it out.
I just wanted to mention that Scott said Metro is actually a partner of ours. They're not necessarily opposition. So just pointing that out, we want to make sure we're working with all of these groups to make cannabis legislation that is fair and just. So appreciate that little side note, Scott.
All right. Also, just on a point of infused food, that again would be a sale of cannabis. So after someone has a permissive use license for 1 year and they do everything right and they apply for that next step, that's when we could then start selling infused food because you're selling cannabis. Special events, hopefully we'll be able to do that, fingers crossed. So never know though. All right, so cannabis DUI reform is important because it affects every single one of us. So I pulled this right off of a website here. And if you get in trouble, I also recommend probably reaching out to them, their defense attorneys. So if you get pulled over, here's what could happen. If the cop thinks that you are incapable of driving safely and you cannot handle your vehicle, or they detain you, take you down to the station, blood test you, and you have more than 2 nanograms of cannabis in your system, or 5 nanograms per milliliter of marijuana metabolites, then you will be charged with a DUI. 2 nanograms, it's parts per billion. That number, Chris G., former political leader, she told us at a meeting last year, they just pulled that number out of the blue. They didn't even know what they were doing. So that needs to go. And that would go by changing the per se law. So a driver that does not necessarily have to be high or intoxicated to be liable under this section, as long as that driver's blood contains the minimum prohibited amount while driving and operating, the law sees it as an illegal per se law. Well, we are asking and proposing that Assemblyman Steve Yeager, who's also carrying this bill, take that per se law out. So that way you absolutely have to show some impairment, just like if you're on prescription drugs, then you would be detained, not just because, or excuse me, given a ticket and detained, not just because it came up 2 nanograms. So this one, we don't have to run a campaign on like we are with our social use campaign. We hope that it goes through and it's pretty clear cut. But please make sure if you're a leader in the industry and if you're on this call, do not smoke in your car and put it on Instagram. Our political leaders have Instagram. Many of us follow Steve Yeager. So we don't want him clicking on our stories and seeing that we are smoking in our car and this guy is trying to work on the DUI laws. So please, please tell your teams. We as professionals need to set the bar for responsible adult use, and that's one of the easiest ways to do it. Any questions on that?
I have one.
Yes, go ahead.
Recently, Zion Williams was, UNLV supposed to be starting on the team, and he was, I'm sure you've seen in the news, pulled over or basically charged with DUI for intoxication of cannabis. How is situations like that? They're going to rebuttal that. So how are we going to move forward with that?
You said, okay, sorry. So a basketball player, someone that plays for UNLV was charged with the DUI?
Yeah, he basically ruined his entire life. He ruined his whole career there at UNLV because he was intoxicated with marijuana. And so he killed a man.
I am not familiar with that story.
Yeah, it's a brand new story. About 2 weeks ago that happened. So that really concerned me, and that made me think about this meeting, bring up and thinking about ways that, you know, I think he was 19, so I don't know if he had a cannabis license or not. I'm not sure the situation, but that's something we need to keep in mind and understanding what we're trying to do.
Yeah, so if this law passes for DUI, that would prevent somebody ruining their whole life, right? We can't change what the law is currently. I don't know what the charges are to speak to that, but that's exactly what we're trying to change. So someone's life doesn't get ruined from cannabis. Hopefully he gets put in front of one of the judges that was just elected so he can have a fair trial. But
I don't think he was charged with cannabis. I think that they said it was in his car. I don't think that they said that it was under the influence, but he went there. They didn't test him. So I'm not sure where that is, and it's going to get messy from my understanding. But because there is a man that died because of his reckless driving, you're dealing with two separate things. And that is very much how cannabis gets mixed in the wrong area, because this child could have been drinking, drugging, smoking. And when you do those types of tests, just like you see in statistics, they go into control substances. Period. It doesn't matter which one. So being able to differentiate is still going to be a problem when you have someone that has an alcohol all the way over there, and then they test for marijuana. And we all know how the science works with marijuana and alcohol. So when we talk about DUI, we have to talk about the medical terminology and what's already set, because that it's not so much as someone can ruin their life. He's 19, he's underage, he was, somebody died. But when there's somebody like me, you have a medical card, and for whatever reason they pull you over. I know a lot of you know Aisha. Me and Aisha feel the same way. We don't drive that much because we're medical patients. And any given point, we're in the publicity. They say, oh, you're a medical patient. I think you're doing whatever. So I don't drive that much, because 2 nanometers, I'm always high by that recommendation. Dr. Jones is working on that as well, because if a medical patient like we see that ends up taking a medication, say RSO, every single day for their cancer treatments, they're never going to be technically able to drive. So that's more of a concern, I would think, and looking at DUIs and focusing on the medical side of what that looks like, because we do know that medical works. So be able to determine things scientifically, objectively, will give somebody a little bit more leeway to sponsor, help, do whatever they need to with us.
Yeah, thank you. Great question. Appreciate it. And we'll update you again. All these meetings that we have will always update what we're doing and what we're working on, so you know. Moving along here, some really, really awesome news. So going back to October, some folks had asked me to help them try to organize a event. It was a fundraiser dinner where there was consumption and infused food. And I reached out to some folks probably on this call and said, hey, can you help me sponsor this event? But a lot of folks said, no, that's in the gray area. We don't have those rules from the Cannabis Compliance Board. So I blew up their email and finally got an answer. And just on December 23rd, they sent out this official document. So I want to just point it out really quick. You can also find this document on the CCB website. If you are not getting their emails, please make that a priority to get their emails and just be up to par, so you're one step ahead of what's going on with regulation. So a couple points. In their first paragraph, they say loud and clear, submittal does not pre-approve participation in events. You are just telling the CCB, this is what I'm doing. So it is to cover your behind. They aren't technically approving or disapproving events. So must be submitted 30 days prior to the event. Detailed description. How will it not violate any of the Nevada cannabis compliance regulations or statutes? How will it comply with local ordinances? How much cannabis will be there? A fucking lot, that's how much. How will events not exceed possession limits? And any licensee must say how they're going to be involved, and they would have to submit that themselves. Now, if this seems cumbersome and tedious and something that you don't want to do, that's where we want to point out a resource for you who's on today, and that is Miss Jen T, CEO of Connect Hospitality, who specializes in private consumption events, everything from the paperwork to possibly booking the porta potties. Jen, if you could just take 1 second and do a quick plug for Connect and how people can use you as a resource.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much for that amazing introduction and for also hosting another amazing meeting. So yes, my company Connect has been, the people that are involved in our company have been working in the nightlife and entertainment industry here in Las Vegas for many, many, many years. And we have thrown a lot of cannabis parties that you guys have maybe gone to. We've done a lot of what I think these type of events are going to be perfect as, which are the convention after parties and like larger scale get-togethers. So we can do everything from, like Tina said, helping prepare the plans for it and like getting everything ready to submit to not only the local agencies that are actually going to be approving the events, meaning if you need to submit to the city of Las Vegas to get your event zoning approved and let them know you're going to have pull a special events permit. Those are the agencies that are actually approving these parties. And then like Tina said, the CCB just wants to know that you're going to be there and that your company is still following all of the rules that your company needs to follow as a licensed cannabis brand. So yes, we are excited to work on these. Right now, we're not throwing any parties until we're at minimum off the governor's pause, and hopefully we'll be in like a better place all around with everything that's going on. So yes, Jen T at Connect Vegas. Connect Hospitality is my company, and that's it. Thank you guys. Let's party soon, hopefully, and safely.
Party. Another quick resource, employment opportunities. So we want to make sure that people are connecting with each other. We already know that Green is hiring, Treehouse is hiring, Essence is hiring for managers with experience. And I have my own personal announcement. I have an awesome uncle, Uncle Kurt, who has owned pipe and tobacco shops in Detroit for over 20 years. He has like 8 of them. And he actually got a license for his store in Hazel Park. It is a micro business license. So it is a dispensary with a small cultivation and I believe a small consumption lounge. Right now they are hiring for a GM in Detroit. So you would have to move to Detroit and you would have to live in the snow. That's extremely important. But if you are interested, I would ask that you reach out to me directly and I can give you my uncle's information and hopefully you get hired and boom, now you get to work for Uncle Kurt. All right, next slide, Danny B. Want to talk about community opportunities?
Let me unmute and let me share with you guys this project that I found through Councilman William McCurdy's Instagram, and I'm really stoked to be a part of this and would love to have any of you guys come and join me. So this Sunday, what we're going to be doing is revitalizing in a neighborhood called Highland Village. There's a little backstory on a woman that they're helping. She is an elder of the community who's been serving her area for over 50 years. And she's very low income, but that low income hasn't stopped her from really being a beacon of light in her community. And so for those that can't afford daycare service due to low income, she fills that void and she's the big mama figure to all the children and she watches them daily. So these organizations are coming together and we are going to take part as the Chamber of Cannabis. Again, I'm always trying to think of ways to be a conscientious cannabis consumer and I'd love to help out the community. So what we're going to be doing is doing some painting, some landscaping, and giving this woman the dream home that resembles excellence. That's all she asked. And so there's not going to be anything needed to bring. They're going to have all the resources, but if you'd like to come, please let me know and I can give you more information.
Awesome, thank you. So after you've heard a lot of our meeting and you see us hard at work, moving commerce forward, changing legislation, connecting homies, we want you to be a part of it. This is an opportunity for us to shine as people who are shaping the industry. Many of us on this call, if we're not owners and operators already, we want to be. So we hope that you do join. If you're not joined already, there's all the benefits. And we have a couple different levels. Darn it. We have a couple different levels of membership. So we did increase our prices from 2020 to 2021 due to the amount of work that we're putting in. Again, we're all volunteers. So members, this will be your 2021 prices. For individuals or community partners, which are nonprofits or extremely small businesses, $59 for our businesses. Oops, I'm sorry, it's $500 on that green membership now. It was $250, but it went up, and that gold membership is $750. And then we've added some new partner sponsorships. And these partner sponsorships are for folks that have an opportunity to join this campaign, just like you might have joined the Question 2 campaign to legalize cannabis. So we are looking for folks that probably have a vested interest in wanting to open a social use venue, who don't want to do the work themselves, who don't want to retain their own lobbying firm, who don't have $100,000 sitting around to do all that. We are asking you to join our campaign, or put us in touch with somebody who you know would want to join our campaign and support us financially. So we have a couple different levels. Our campaign partners, that's $5,000. Our strategic partner is a $10,000 commitment, and our leadership circle is $25,000. So all of the dispensaries out there who have an opportunity to get a license, we would love to speak with you, as well as any other brand partners, cultivations, or just anyone who says, hell yeah, you guys are putting in the work. We want to support you monetarily. So send all your rich friends to us. All right. And finally, next meeting, we keep it consistent. Second Thursday of every single month, February 11th on Zoom, trying to keep it to an hour. If you're not following us on the gram, you haven't been to our website, LinkedIn, please go to all of those places and connect with us. And then finally, our big finale and our exciting news, so you can go take a little staycation. I want to shout out Miss Maggie Presley for coming through with this gift card. Our communications director, Bree Padilla, has put all of your names into a wheel. If you are currently a paid member with us, I believe we have everybody in here. So we're going to change it over to Bree's screen so you can see the wheel. You can see it going.
Yeah.
And then she's going to spin and we're going to get a winner.
Okay. So I'm sharing my screen. Hi guys. 1 second.
And I do want to shout out our communications team, which is Bree, Brooke, and Danny, has just been doing phenomenal. I mean, communications in this time is pretty tough. So making all of our cool assets, those awesome emails that you're reading, we know you who opens them and who doesn't. So we sure hope you're taking advantage of all the knowledge we're spreading. And that's all our communications team. If you also are listening and you're like, oh, I want to get involved, I want to do more, or just anything that you see that you could help us with, please don't hesitate to ask. What organization is what you get out of it. So we are looking for more super smart people to join our leadership team. All right, are you ready, Bree?
Almost. I have to open my system preferences to have it go. 1 second. But I actually have, oh, here we go. Almost.
And also, we appreciate everybody, all of your just really encouraging, positive comments, whether you've done that on the application form that you filled out, which is super easy, Instagram. I mean, that's what fuels us. So it's what fills our cup. So thank you all so much. And a personal thank you from me for all of the very considerate comments that you've all said. I appreciate it.
I'm going to second that motion, Tina. Everybody's been wonderful. You guys have been great to work with. And we're so happy to be building such a wonderful chamber with, I think, some of the biggest and brightest in the industry. So congrats to all. And thanks.
I have, so sorry. I have to either exit and come back or just do it myself. What are we voting on? Should I exit and come back?
I don't even know what that means.
Because I have to restart because I gave permissions. Danny's just like, go. All right.
Go.
I'm just going to go. All right. If you're lucky enough to be on IG, y'all are getting something that the other members aren't.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Spinning. All right. iPhone. Okay. So we have somebody in here.
that is identified as iPhone. Let me see. Are they still in here? I don't see them.
You know if they remember if their name's not up.
I didn't. That's why
I changed my name from iPhone to Rebecca halfway through the call when I noticed, but I don't know if I'm never that lucky. That can't be me, but I did do that.
Let's give her a rescan. We're
going to do a refresh, guys. I'm going to get rid of iPhone. Here we go. And we're going to do a reshuffle. Here you go. And the wheel of names. It's Maggie Presley. Maggie, you have won. It is on the internet forever.
Awesome, Maggie. See, good karma happens. So if anyone else has gift cards with hundreds of dollars that they want to donate to,
I'm so sorry. That is so hilarious.
I have it on. It's proof. I have proof. It's on the internet, guys.
It's too much. It's hilarious. Thanks, guys.
Believe it. Any last questions before we sign off? All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. We are the best state in the union for cannabis reform with the best people. Appreciate everyone. Have a really safe night. Take care.
Go, Tina.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Woo! See you guys.